second graders reading Macbeth. Where did you come up with the belief that
common
kids could
sense
really
again? Watch the commercials. They will. Watch television. I know my own children would. They would sit and watch television all day on Saturdays if you allow them. I've seen my children do a Hopi rain dance backing out of the room because they had to go to the washroom and they didn't want to miss anything.
Right.
So they are sitting there jumping and backing out the door and bumping to the wall because they don't want to leave the television. Well, somehow we say when they go to school that their attention span is less. Why can they sit for 6 hours on Saturday? Why do they turn to idiots when they come to school? I don't understand.
Often you've said it's not that students are the problem, but the teachers that are the problem.
But if they can watch television, watch children. When my children were as soon as they were able to talk, they could repeat verbatim every game they wanted for Christmas. The game doesn't get too difficult, the name. They can say verbatim the commercials. Well, why can't they memorize poetry? Shakespeare is no more difficult than Michelangelo of the Ninja Turtles.
Michelangelo.
But here our children know Michelangelo,
right,
who walked around the streets of Florence with a piece of marble saying inside is an angel just dying to get out. But the average kid doesn't know why Donatello and our kids can tell you why the characters are named that, which meant somebody read that in order to write it. So, kid, are you going to sit down and watch the garbage that somebody else writes because they read it? So that's okay with me if you want me to be bright and do all the writing for you, because you have to have a background. So these 5- and 6-year-olds just finished reading Raphael and Donatello and Michelangelo. So they watch, as children will, the Teenage Ninja Turtles, but they also know...
They have a different level of appreciation.
Yes, where the characters came from. And I think you have to have a background. They begin to say, oh, Mrs. Collins, that's like this. We read someplace the other day about someone taking an Icarian flight. And a little 6-year-old said to me, that's from Daedalus and Icarus. But, you see, if you don't have a connection, and the same with crime, you have to have a connection. And that's why name-calling, the deeper the connection, the less the name-calling and validating bothers you, because
right,
you begin to draw from analogies like E.E. Cummings, who says, the hardest thing in a world where everybody's like everybody else is to be me.
Right.
And so often when you're criticizing me in comparison to you.
Is it fair to say that what you're really teaching children then in addition is really how to appreciate more of life?
I think just to appreciate the wonderful, special person that you are. I know I'm hot stuff because there's nobody with fingers that's just like mine.
Right.
With here we are getting our noses fixed. And my nose is my character. I tell my children, I know, specialists won't want to hear me. When my children are younger, they're hearing society talk about noses. And my children used to say when they were younger, especially my younger two, as soon as I get some money and I get older, I'm going to have my nose done. And I did all of this talk about, this is the character of this entire family.
Right.
We all have this, and if I make I'm not about to pick a nose from a catalog. That's like everybody else's nose.
Well, uniqueness is fairly important to you.
That's what makes me. That's what.
Now people are going to be picturing this nose on you, Marva. That's really humongous.
Well, that's okay. It doesn't. What I'm trying to say though is, I think we miss the special people that we really are. If you look at a baby.
Yeah.
I look at my grandson. He has his mom's bottom lip. He has my son's top lip. You see facial features from her family, from our family.
Right.
You see the trait. And I think to change all of that is to make everybody sameness. And that's what we want children. You are great. You are wonderful. You are unique. You're special. And it's really like Oz. Everybody's going to the wizard to get a heart, to get a brain. They go through all these difficulties only to get there, to find out they had what they were looking for. All they needed was to know how to use it.
And that's really what you're doing with these kids.
And that's what teachers from all over the world come here. They come from fancy, moneyed schools, buildings that would make 200 of our schools, architects' dreams, very wealthy schools. All they need to do is to learn humanity and common sense. And Ralph Waldo Emerson said, man is astounded by common sense. And that's really all this is. And that intimidates a lot of people when you don't want to be like somebody else. You think for yourself. I bought a kite for my kitchen, a beautiful red kite with a black cat, because the decor in my kitchen was red. And the man was busy giving me flying instructions for the kite, and I says, "Thank you very much, sir, but I'm going to hang this one on my kitchen door." He looked at me like he thought, this woman is really weird. Because he could see a kite only for flying.
Yeah.
A quilt may go from a wall hanging to my kitchen table, from my kitchen table to my dining room table. It doesn't have one function.
So part of it is looking for the most empowering meaning out of anything in your life, whether it be an item or whether it be
Well, if that's your
situation.
limitation, and you tell me and I can only look here, I'm always curious to see what's over here. And that's what we tell our students. Don't let anyone make barriers for you. If I give you 2 pages of homework, it's very much like an average person to do only those 2 pages. Aren't you even curious enough to know what happens after that?
Well, isn't that really one of the most powerful things you do also? These kids, you instill curiosity in these kids, or rather, maybe a better word is you unleash it.
Well, I think we had visitors in this morning. What they were amazed about, the kids are popping up like popcorn. I mean, they're getting excited, and